the biggest thing that I share is avoid talking about someone's body, because that is one of the most can be one of the most hurtful things. And here's the thing: if you're talking about someone being a larger body, that can be hurtful and harmful in different ways. But even if you're praising someone for being a smaller body, oh, so then I'm be praised, or it reaffirms that I'm valuable because I'm in a smaller body. Or depending, or even if you have curves, whatever the case may be. I'm just using those two things for examples. But it's better to focus on the functionality and the care of one's body, and grow into appreciating what your body does and is for you, for the moments and where it is right now in life versus what it looks like, because we're not just our bodies, we're so much more than that.
Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Legacy Speaks. My name is Sierra Hillsman, licensed professional counselor and emotional wellness coach. Today, we're going to have another dope conversation with another dope clinician, and her name is Jessica Harris, and she is the founder and owner of the Beauty Clinic. That's BEAUTI Clinic. And we're going to dive into eating disorders and what that looks like for Black men and women. But before we jump on in, please make sure that you're hitting that subscription button below. That way you can stay up to date on newly released content on a regular basis. So I just want to introduce Miss Jessica Harris.
Hi, everyone. And thank you, Sarah, so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here and talk with you.
Oh, thank you so much, y'all. I just love her bubbly personality. Like it's amazing. I just love coming across clinicians who not only know what they do, but are passionate about what they do. So, Jessica, can you let the people know a little bit about your professional and personal journey? What led you to dive deeper into the beauty clinic? Like, what are the foundations of the beauty clinic? And yeah, let's start there.
Yeah, all the things. Okay, so first off, um, I it honestly, the thing was, my first position here in Georgia, went to grad school, moved to Georgia. My first position was an eating disorder residential facility. And the cool thing about it was, when I went through the trainings and different things, I was like, oh, I love this. This is really cool stuff, things that I never knew about. And then, of course, when you're going to grad school, they only touch on certain things, but you don't have that depth. And when I stepped into that space, it made open my eyes to all the things that I struggled with growing up, body image, and then growing up from a religious Christian background, of how much it surround around the body and your worth around your body. So I began to do my own work in that realm, and it just really grew and blossomed from there. Now, for the beauty clinic specifically, it took me a while to get a job in Georgia, and my husband encouraged me to play around with makeup. I already was doing that in grad school, and I ended up getting a makeup mentor and figuring out how to just do that. And it blossomed into my beauty business, and I combined the two because I wanted to really help women grow in learning and accepting their own beauty instead of comparing it to others. So I love it. And it's my creative side. So I get to create and point out, not just tell you that you're beautiful, but why you're beautiful and the different unique features that you have and all those things, especially when people or women, they'll sit in my chair and they're apologizing on how they look. And I said, something has to change about this. So yeah, the beauty clinic then was born.
Oh, I absolutely love it, because there are so many cliches in the industry, especially when it comes to appearances, where it's like beauty is in the eye of the beholder. You have so many standards. You have, especially being a little Black girl, and sorry, this is just me getting on my soapbox. It frustrates me seeing like other cultures being praised for features that I used to get bullied for.
Oh my gosh.
And so you are very intentional about not only helping individuals make peace with what they were given with by the creator, but you're also encouraging them to do the inner work as well.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I want to touch on this one thing. You mentioned of being at peace. That is my whole heart, for someone to be at peace with their body, themselves, with food, whatever that may look like that they're challenged with. And it's really that. It's really that. So yeah.
Absolutely. It's a whole journey. And I appreciate the fact that you were able to see something that you thoroughly enjoyed when you were in grad school and you found a way to partner that with something that is like unique and individual to you. Like, I am also a creative therapist, and we understand that creativity comes up in different ways. So, thank you
Uh,
for modeling what it looks like to create some level of intersectionality. And so
yeah.
I want to dive into eating disorders as well as disorder eating. What are some myths or maybe some misconceptions that we need to know about or be aware about, especially as Black and Brown individuals? Hey y'all, it's Sierra. Make sure you head over to shoplegacysbks.com to check out the latest gear. As always, we have the classic therapy is dope crew neck as well as tees. So head over to cop your crew neck today. It comes in heather navy, that cardinal red, as well as that beautiful gold that we love to see. So head over to purchase yours, not only for yourself, but also for a friend as well. And we are offering free shipping right now. So head over to shoplegacysbks.com to cop all of your therapy's dope gear and check out all the other additional merch as well.
Absolutely. First off, we are highly underdiagnosed as Black and Brown people. I'm so honored to be able to stand in the gap for us and be able to point things out and help us recognize those things. A lot of the misconceptions is it's all around thinness, that you can tell someone has an eating disorder by just looking at them. That if you like food or love food or enjoy food, then you have an eating disorder. All those things are absolutely incorrect. The truth of the matter is there is a functionality and a uh, other things that accompany with when it comes to an eating disorder, and the eating disorder can look different. So for us, specifically Black and Brown people, people of color, you'll more so see us with bulimia or um, uh, what is it? Binge eating disorder than actual anorexia. And when it is anorexia, it's very more persistent and very extreme.
Mm, got it. And how much of our trauma history or maybe even like our upbringing contributes to eating disorders as well as disorder
Uh, oh my gosh, you hit the yeah. So you know how when you've grown growing up and well, at least for me, my mom, eat everything on your plate and all these different things. And I realized actually it wasn't till grad school. I think it didn't fully click, but it was a nugget in a sense of I remember being at a restaurant and I was trying to eat everything on my plate, even though I was full. I'm like,
mm,
just you're a grown adult. But that thought of what is it? My mom, she'll say, waste not, want not. And
mm,
I'm over here. And also, and I'm like, Mama, I think you were putting too much on our plate. That's why we couldn't finish it. But in my mind, I had an idea of I need to finish everything on my plate. And if not, I'm being wasteful. But there's these different things for us that we're taught, and out of being in survival mode or scarcity, that we learn around food. Or again, if you're feeling bad, let me treat you out, or it's always a treat. And you develop your relationship around food based off praise and emotions. So there's so many different nuances there.
absolutely. And I really appreciate the fact that you emphasize the relationship with food because everybody's relationship is going to be different.
Mm-hmm,
Not only
mm-hmm.
from a cultural perspective, but like life experiences as well. And I believe there's another misconception is that it happens or it comes about early on in childhood. But from my understanding, it's eating disorders and disorder eating can happen along various points of the lifespan.
Absolutely, absolutely. There's different things that could come along, and then it shifts. And even if your parents are, oh, and this is a really big thing. I don't is not recognized enough. again, it goes back to accessibility, just like people think about therapy. If you're in a survival mode, of that's what you grew up with your family, you're not taught about nutrition. It's just eat. You're not talking. I mean, they may throw in vegetables, if even that, or your parents are doing that, but it's you're not educated on those things there, on how to take care of your body in a proper way.
Absolutely. Oh my
Mhm.
gosh, so pivotal, so pivotal. So I do want to back up a little bit because we keep utilizing these terms interchangeably. Can you please clarify the difference between an eating disorder and disordered eating?
Absolutely. So it's simply, and disordered eating is still not a healthy relationship with your body and food, but it it depends on the severity. So if you are having you're very fearful, obsessed with food, and a way of it's preventing you from living your life, hanging out with friends, going out to eat, going out on dates. There's shame, there's guilt after or before eating. All those different things may indicate that you actually have an eating disorder, whereas disordered eating, that may show up, but it's not preventing you from the functionalities of life. And that's really the meat and potatoes of it. But and then ultimately your mindset when it comes to food. So the way I like to explain it is, if you are seeing yourself in a way of, oh, if I eat this, or you're late, first off, labeling food, good or bad. And then when you actually eat that thing, you have this mindset of, I did something bad or I did something wrong. And then also perks up, or you're excited when you've been good for the whole day. And
Mm.
that determines how you see yourself and your worth and your body in so many different ways. So yeah. So it goes back down to functionality, but I like to explain it that way because it really hits the nail on the head, I feel.
Absolutely, y'all. She is giving the game. And if you thoroughly enjoy everything that she literally just dropped within these last 5 minutes, please make sure that you're hitting that like button because, like you mentioned, the functionality, the ability to complete your activities of daily living, the way that you show up in day to day living, and how that actually impacts your perception of self. And before we even jump to that, I'm pretty sure there's somebody that's asking, well, how do I know whether or not I have a eating disorder? Like, what are some warning signs that I need to pay attention to, not only
Mhm.
for myself, but maybe a loved one as well?
Yeah, it's you notice that they start avoiding eating. Oh, I'm going to bed early, or you're making excuses in so many different ways. And really, if it's yourself sitting with that, okay, why am I avoiding this? Why am I avoiding going out? Um, is it yeah, what's behind all that ultimately? But you'll start noticing you'll see obsessions with dieting, maybe losing weight, or maybe body features. For us, like I say, I go back to the bulimia um and binge eating. It may not, may not be thinness for us, and a lot of times it's not. We want the curves, right? So it may be focusing on surgeries. Oh, can I get this surgery, or can I, how can I improve this? Or you're over exercising because you're trying to build that booty. All these different things that may come up, that can that you'll be able to see that you don't have the healthiest relationship with yourself and food. But I definitely will pay attention to your eating patterns. Do you have rituals? Um, Even with the intermittent fasting, that can get out of hand, of you're adding on hours of not eating, and then you find yourself uh, gobbling down food, and you're inhaling it and not even enjoying food in a mindful way. All those different things can indicate, like, okay, I need to do some work around this and explore it more. For those that are struggling with this, or they're like, oh, maybe I need something there, of course, see a therapist that specializes in this, like myself, or and a eating disorder specific dietitian,
Mm.
not a nutritionist, but a dietitian. It's almost comparable to a therapist versus life coach. And I say that specifically is because they understand the nuances of an eating disorder versus if you're telling them, oh, I want to lose weight, and they don't know how to navigate that, they can actually do more harm than good. So you want someone that's knowledgeable about how to navigate your relationship with your body versus goals that may not be helpful for you and can seek you deeper into an eating disorder.
Oh my word. There's so much that's coming up in all that you just said because immediately I think about the importance of creating like your health team and
Oh, yes,
making sure
absolutely.
and making sure that everybody is on the same page. It's interestingly enough, we separate mental health from like your physical health, even though the brain is a part of the body, which
Mm-hmm.
makes no
Mm-hmm.
sense at all. And so reminding yourself, one, to have the courage to advocate for your needs, especially with your primary care physicians, especially with your nutritionist or your OBGYN, because all of these systems interact with one another
Mm-hmm.
and it's so important. So if you are experiencing any of these symptoms or if you have an estranged relationship with food, communicate that so that they can either point you to the right direction or at least find somebody who is skilled and trained and aware. The other thing that stood out to me when you were talking about the different signs and symptoms is like some of these things sound like other disorders, other differential diagnoses of any
Mm-hmm.
kind. So even when you were talking about like the rituals and rumination, I thought, oh, obsessive compulsive disorder,
Uh-huh.
anxiety, and like changes in mood depending on how often you eat,
Mm-hmm.
depression, and things like that. Can you speak to the comorbidity when it comes to disorder eating disorders?
Yeah, I do see it quite a bit. We were talking earlier before when it comes to substance use or abuse, and when I have clients where they have OCD, depression, they experience those different various mood disorders, all those different things that coincide of that. Or and it depends on who the person is, but the eating disorder actually could be primary and not even recognize it because you have all these other attributes that you can see. And you ask about food or someone that doesn't know how to explore that, it's like, oh no, that's fine, because you don't know. But the truth of the matter is that is something that is very present and something that is impacting that person's life. And mind you, here's the thing, you mentioned again, our bodies, just our mental health and our body physical health impacts all these things and it works all together. But if you're not nourishing your body, if you're not caring for it in a way, it's not going to be able to even have those clear thoughts. We're talking about reframing. We do a lot of that in therapy. But if you haven't nourished your body and your brain doesn't even have enough power to do that, how are you going to be able to care for yourself? You're not going to be able to think things through and make those wise decisions for yourself, for your body, for your life ultimately. And that's the whole goal.
Hey, lovely. Shout out to you because I know mental and emotional wellness is important to you. If it wasn't, you wouldn't be listening to this podcast. But lean in really quickly because I know sometimes it's really hard to create a plan and actually sticking to it. So let's take your mental health to another level. Ever wonder what keeps you from fully executing? Ever wonder how you can build the confidence for decision making? Well, guess what? You're not alone and I'm here to help. So head over to mentalhealthgoals.com for your free mental health plan. It'll give you practical strategies for addressing your current mental health needs. But first, you got to tap in. So head over to mentalhealthgoals.com to receive your free mental health action plan today. Do it right now. Mentalhealthgoals.com. See you soon. Absolutely, absolutely. And I was thinking also of how important it is to be able to consider not only your relationship with food, but maybe even your relationship with your family of origin, right? And this is something that I noticed with a few of my clients, how their parents' belief about food
Mm-hmm.
were heavily projected onto them, or their
Mm-hmm.
parents' belief about how a person should look, their body image, all of that stuff. If they were bullied or belittled as a child, they wanted everything in their power to make sure that their child didn't go through the same thing. So I'm going to make sure that we get a jump start. So that you don't have to experience what I've been through. And so can you talk about like the interesting dynamics of like that family system and how that plays in like your body image and everything?
Yeah. And even just to share a little bit of my story, for my mom, I take more so after my dad, and seeing my mom, she would always brag on how good she looked. And we have a different body type. She's a little bit petite and slimmer. And I remember I'm like, "But I don't look like that." And people, they don't recognize that they vicariously experience what someone does approve of. So then that must mean that I'm not approved of that, or I'm not accepted. And you hit the nail on the head when it comes to bullying. All those different things can impact how you see yourself, even if it's not directly happening to you. I remember people, friends, my mom saying things about other people's bodies. And it's like, oh, well, what does that mean about myself? But the family dynamics of how they um, feel about food, how they see other people, how they interpret people. There's a thing of fat phobia. So people, oh, well, if they're in a larger body, and that's what I say, we don't call people fat, but people are in larger bodies. And that's another thing that you would get coming to a specialist. It's we are very sensitive to naming certain things, not in a derogatory way that demeans people, because um being in a larger body can, or saying fat can mean so many other things for someone. But all those different things can impact your, not only how you see yourself, your well-being, your esteem, and ultimately your self-worth.
Absolutely. And I do want to take a pause here because I'm pretty sure when people hear the word sensitive, they start to diminish what is being said. And I do need people to tap in and recognize that this is very important. I know you utilize the word sensitive, but it sounds like you are very intentional and also
Yes,
aware with what you're doing. You're equipping the clients that you serve with the
absolutely.
correct language. And when we are able to learn something, we can then go on and educate other people to do
Absolutely.
it, to challenge the status quo. So
Hmm.
thank you
Hmm.
for the work that you're doing.
Yeah. Yes. What, oh, did you want me to comment on that?
No.
Oh, I was gonna say, yes, I'm glad you pointed that out. And I was, do I have enough time to explain it? But yes, I'm very intentional. That was the key. That was a good word. Intentional about how I'm relating or sharing about someone's body. I do live in a larger body. Or when you're describing someone, they're maybe petite in size, or they're in a large, smaller body, those different things. Because when someone is struggling with an eating disorder, the biggest thing that I share is avoid talking about someone's body, because that is one of the most, can be one of the most hurtful things. And here's the thing: if you're talking about someone being a larger body, that can be hurtful and harmful in different ways. But even if you're praising someone for being a smaller body, oh, so then I'm be praised, or my it reaffirms that I'm valuable because I'm in a smaller body. Or depending, or even if you have curves, whatever the case may be. I'm just using those two things for examples. But it's better to focus on the functionality and the care of one's body, and grow into appreciating what your body does and is for you, for the moments, and where it is right now in life, versus what it looks like. Because we're not just our bodies, we're so much more than that.
Absolutely. And I, even then, I think about like my own personal journey in terms of like being an individual living with chronic illness, and for
Mm,
a part of my my wellness journey and my healing journey, I resented my body because I
mm,
felt
mm.
like my body was not keeping up with my mind. So when I was
Yeah,
early diagnosed
yeah.
with ulcerative colitis and a liver disease, I was dealing with chronic fatigue. I was sleeping. I didn't have enough energy. I was always in pain and I was getting super frustrated. And then I had to, like we talked about, make peace with the fact that this is where my body is in this moment. I still have movement of my limbs. I can still exercise. I can still take a shower, complete my activities of daily living by myself. I still have a degree of functionality. And so what I'm hearing too is just like leveraging that gift of gratitude
Yes.
is very,
Yes.
very important. And then also, like you mentioned, understanding that your body is not your identity.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And I was literally taught that from a young age that it was, and how and again, it kind of goes back to my faith of growing up in that arena of all these things of what a woman should be. And us as women, our bodies go through so much, from growing up in puberty to, if you're having children, and all these different things um, I mean, the different stages from, you get more hips, or you get made more shapely, or you're learning your body in different ways. And we're learning, and I mean, our bodies are changing and growing all the time, and knowing how to accept and appreciate those things
Oh,
for what it is.
absolutely. Like the evolution of self in multiple
Mhm.
fashions.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. So, Jessica, we talked a lot about the signs. We also talked about how it can impact the way that we view ourselves. How can we start on the path of retraining ourselves? How can we start on the path of building a better or healthier sense of self when it comes to our bodies and our relationship with food?
Yeah, honestly, I literally, and when women, they come and sit in my chair, it's so funny. I shock them about every time. And I'm like, what feature do you love about yourself? What do you love about your face? And they're like, I never thought of that. But I would start there. What do you like about yourself? I don't care if it's your nose, your ears, your toes. Start with something small, and what do you appreciate? That's one of the first things. And I focus on, if you can't even point out something you like, at least appreciate. Can
Mm.
you walk? Can you get from to the fro? Right. But then another layer of that is begin to explore, what were you taught, and what are your beliefs around your body and food. And that can open up a lot of things. And of course, you can take that to your therapist, or find a therapist that's best fit for you to be able to explore that deeper. But that's a great way to start. So then you can see, oh, do I really believe that? Or is it more to this? So begin to be curious. And I like to say curious, kind, and compassionate, and especially giving compassion to your body for all it's done for you throughout your life.
Oh, that's beautiful. Curious, kind, and compassionate. I'm hearing that also requires a level of humanizing of self
Yes.
because our society has a way of pushing the narrative of perfectionism
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
or elitism through specific features.
Uh-huh.
And so I do ask, how do you help clients challenge not only the negative thinking that happens internally, but the negative thinking that occurs externally from environments and whatnot?
Oh yeah, that's a good one. Delete all the social media. I'm just gonna say, but I do tell them, like, okay, if this is a account that's triggering you, take it off. I do have a very positive social media personally, but go with what aligns with what you're trying to learn, and grow in yourself first off. But from all the noise of society, um, the thing about it is your beliefs are still always going to be louder.
Mm.
So you need to, again, pun intended, feed your soul for what you want to grow and be in, versus taking in all the junk food, or junk media that really impacts those unwanted beliefs. And you get to redefine that for yourself. There's some really good resources out there that I definitely don't mind sharing as well. Um, but I would definitely start there when it comes to the media, whether you have to get off of it, or look at the accounts that is not helpful, or even speak up. The friends that are maybe they're obsessed with dieting, or maybe they're obsessed or talk about their bodies in negative ways, and you have bonded over hating your body or not just liking your body. Start to speak up. You know what? I don't want to think about this in this way anymore. How can we love ourselves together? So start having those conversations.
Oh, absolutely love all of that. And shout out to the puns, okay? Because they make it very practical and relatable. All right.
Yeah.
Yes. You don't have to get off of social media completely, but monitor what you are consuming. If we can do that from a physical perspective, it's important for us to do that for not only our emotional perspective, but also spiritual perspective as well. And I'm really big on looking at people from like the 8 dimensions of wellness. And so when you tapped into that social wellness component of, hey, start putting some boundaries in place with the people that you're around, effectively communicate your needs as a friend and a loved one, let it be known how this is bothering you, because we've been doing these patterns for so long that sometimes what we say and what comes out of our mouth is so natural. And so when we bring it to another person's awareness, it's just like, dang, I am pretty negative when it comes to my body, or I didn't realize that I thought this way about a particular situation. So being that voice of reason, or maybe even that alarm, even when it feels uncomfortable, goes a long way.
Absolutely. I must give you one more thing. When it comes to even my friends, and of course, like even though I do this work, I still slip up. And one thing that me and my friends do now is say 3 nice things. Like you said, nope, 3 nice things, Jess, 3 nice things. And I have to literally take the time and say it out loud, 3 nice things to myself or about myself.
Oh,
So that's something that is literally become a game with me and my friends.
I love it. I'm gonna use that. I'm the kindness police with my because sometimes we, you know how you could be talking about one thing and then there's like this sidebar about a particular individual. It's just like, okay, we're not talking about that. We're talking about this. Like,
Uh-huh.
let's say something nice. Let's be positive, you know? So sometimes you just have to be that beacon of light for the people that you're around. So important. So important. Yes, please get into the resources. Spill the
Yes.
resources.
No, I will send you the resources. The cool thing is, last year I was able to do a workshop or training for therapists of color around eating disorders and body dysmorphia, which was so impactful and so phenomenal that that I just want to just share this information because it's so needed, and even to recognize that within clients or even for people themselves. So it's always helpful.
And that is a term that most people probably not have heard of. And so I know from professional to professional, we both know. But can you explain what body dysmorphia is and what that looks like?
Yeah, so honestly, kind of it's so interesting, it goes hand in hand. It still goes back to so if you have a negative body image, seeing yourself in a way of you feel shame or you need to change your body and fix it in such a way that it brings your self-esteem low or to a poor place and how you see yourself and your worth. But it goes back to the again the functionality or the severity of it. So when you hear negative body image, you have these negative thoughts about yourself and your body. And body dysmorphia, it's on a whole nother level of maybe someone doesn't want to leave the house. They can't have thoughts of, oh my god, I have this uh dimple on my face, or maybe a little mole, or something that they feel like is just deformed. And in actuality, it looks normal to everyone else, but they are so fearful that people can see it, recognize it, feel ashamed of it, that it impacts their entire life of just living in general. So it has the extremes, but that's what that is.
Absolutely. So finding what I'm hearing is finding one particular thing or multiple things and being hyper focused on it.
Mm-hmm.
And then finding ways to challenge that distorted way of viewing those
Mm-hmm.
particular things.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. When I was in a training, I did a training a couple months ago for dialectical behavior therapy. And
Yeah, DPT.
yeah, yes, I love DBT. I just have to say it the long version. for the audience.
Oh, of course.
I love DBT and I love everything about it. And there's like RODBT for eating disorders. And
Uh-huh.
so it was wonderful being able to talk about those particular components simply because, like, for that over controlled population, you talk about
Mm-hmm.
all of the risk factors and how family plays a major role, or environments play a
Yes.
major role, the unaffirming environments or the environments that lack like love and genuine support. All of that stuff
Mm-hmm.
matters. And I can imagine if for anybody who is listening in this moment, we do want to take some time to affirm you, even though you might not have received the love that you thoroughly needed growing up. Please take a moment to be intentional about finding that love within or creating that love for yourself at whatever stage that you're at in life. And whether it's finding community with other individuals who are struggling with what you're struggling with, or maybe even finding the resources to equip you with the information, or even tapping in with the beauty clinic and all the things that they provide. And so please understand that you don't have to suffer alone in these dynamics.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Beautifully said. I love that.
So Jessica, please let the people know more about the beauty clinic and all the services that you provide, as well as any upcoming trainings that you have.
Yeah, so with the beauty clinic, actually I'm revamping quite a few things. So I'm super excited about this new year. But as of right now, I do have my Black Women Safe Space group that I'm so excited about. Us as Black women needing a safe space to just be able to talk and be, and it's an interpersonal process group that builds connection and being able to build those skills and understand yourself in so many various ways. And of course, we it's a process group, so whatever is brought into the room is creating that safe space for that. So I do have that, and then the goal, or what you'll see or starting to be flowed out, is my beauty therapy workshops that I will be hosting and having for women to be able to get that beauty therapy experience, whether it's in makeup or henna, or simply having those deep dives with a group of women about their relationship with themselves and their bodies.
Ooh, absolutely love it. Oh my gosh. Once again, Jessica, thank you so much for the work that you do. For the men who are listening to this episode, you are not without resources. Please understand that eating disorders and disorder eating is not limited to the female population.
Mhm.
Men experience these things as well. And so I'm definitely going to find some resources specifically for men as well. That way you can have them. However, Jessica, please let the people know where they can find you and how they can tap in.
Yeah, so you can find me at The Beauty Therapist. I'll still spell the same. www the BEAUTI therapist.com. And on social media, the same thing. Hopefully I can be on social media a little bit more. But you can find me there. Feel free to DM me or ask questions. I'm open to that. I did want to hone in on that. I realized, Sierra, I did not talk about men, and they do struggle with this. So I've talked more a lot about women, which that is more that I work with, but men, they don't even recognize when they're struggling with all these things. It's so needed. So definitely feel free to reach out. And I do have resources or and about men as well. So I can send that over to you. But they are not alone in this. If anything, they I've heard men actually say they feel like they are silenced even more because of the feminist movement, and all these things are so focused on women that for them it's they still have their same standard of masculinity and what a man should look like and be, versus a woman where we're being freed and they're still in their same box. So it's definitely important to talk about and be shared.
Oh my gosh. Yes. I don't know why. Yeah. When you talked about that, immediately I thought about how men are suddenly recognizing that over exercising is a form of self-harm.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And here's the thing, whether it's overeating, over exercising, for us, I've seen so much of when it comes to the emotional eating, but there's different types of purging. It's using laxatives. It's like you mentioned, the over exercising or doing strenuous things that your body can't even handle, but it's the framework is, if my body can get to this, then I can be attractive and I can get the love that I want or desire. It's so many things, but yes, absolutely. I go talk about this forever, but yes.
Listen, I love it. Okay. Y'all, you all know I love to talk, okay? We can go on and on and on and on, but I know y'all attention span is very limited in these streets, so it's all good. But Jessica, thank you so much. Y'all, please make sure that you're tapping into The Beauty Therapist. Please make sure that you like, comment, subscribe, and share. And before we go, you already know the podcast is called the Legacy Speaks Podcast. What would you like your legacy to speak about you?
Oh, so good. Honestly, I would love for my legacy to be that I was compassionate in a safe space. That is really, it's what people do with that safe space, but that's really my heart. For people to feel better about themselves and be more at peace with themselves encountering me. And hopefully as the people that I meet in my own family and as they're healing and growing as I am, it just trickles down. So that's
Oh,
my
that
heart.
just really hits me. Thank you so much for that. Right. So, for anybody who's also listening, the reason why I'm honing in on this is because one of the ways you can become a safe space to a person is equipping yourself with education. If you know of a loved one, or if you're a mental health professional, or maybe even a medical professional, and you have clients that you serve or people that you do life with who are dealing with these types of struggles, equip yourself with the information, and then also equip yourself with the referrals towards individuals who are able to provide the services and the help that these individuals need. So please create a safe space by not only providing a listening ear, but also solutions moving forward. Okay. All right, y'all. Once again, please make sure that you're tapping into all things Jessica Harris at The Beauty Therapist, the BEAUTI therapist.com. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and share. Once again, my name is Sierra Hillsman, licensed professional counselor and emotional wellness coach. Please tap in at Legacy SBKS on everything. Until next time.